Shomrei Shabbat Dekore Onek Shabbat Zecher Lema'aseh Bereishi Shabbat Zecher Lema'aseh Bereishi Shabbat Yismechu Demalechutecha Shomrei Shabbat Dekore Onek Shabbat Yismechu Demalechutecha Shomrei Shabbat Dekore Onek Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. We're delighted to have you with us, whether you're watching from home or here in the sanctuary. We thank you, each and every one of you. My name is Barry Nicholsberg. I have the honor of being the cantorial soloist here at Temple Beth David. We are located in Snellville, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, and today is the 6th of January, 2023. To my far left, Frank Monteleone on guitar. Thank you, Frank. He's been here longer than I have. So, Daniel Bordeaux, our newest member of the Shabbat Band. We thank you for being with us. And Heather Murray and Jim Murray on vocals. And on the back, Denise Whitlock is our streaming specialist. If you're watching online, it's because she's made it happen. And sitting next to her is Jeannie Nicholsberg, my wife, who, if you put anything in the chat box that's worth actually repeating out loud, she's the one who's going to do that. Next to them all is... is there a problem? No, of course not. Judy Kern is our board president, and I say every week, she keeps the trains running on time, and she does. With that, I am going to ask a couple of very quick questions just to get us in the mood for Shabbat. What kind of person were you this week? Were you thoughtful? Were you superficial? Were you preoccupied? Were you appreciative? Did you laugh? Did you cry? Did you tell anyone how much you love him or her? Did you use your week well? And what does that even mean? What lessons will you take with you into the future? Think about this as I say it. As I enter Shabbat, I release the past week, its joys and its sorrows. I free myself from any misgivings or guilt. I am ready to look for new happiness and bring the best of me to new experiences during the week to come. With that, I will ask Heather Murray to honor us on pages 120 and 121 as she lights the Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own way, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu had l'kner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. If you'll please turn to page 138 in the Mishkan Tefillah and join us as we sing Lecha Dodi. We will sing the first, fifth, and ninth verses. When we get to the ninth verse, we'll ask that you stand up either physically and or spiritually face the door you came in so that we can greet the Shabbat bride. With that, page 138. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela la 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 la. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'ripor echad, Ishmi'anu el hamnuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, V'shem oti fi'eret la 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 la. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela. Hitoreri, Akiva orech kumi uri, uri shir daberi. Kibod Adonai alayich la 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 la. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela. Please rise and face the door you came in. Bo'i v'shalom ha'teret bala, Kam besimchat zola, Tochem oneam segula. Bohi chala, la 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 la. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela la 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 la. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela. Please be seated. Bobby Horowitz is here with us this evening, and it just seems wrong for me to do the Reader's Kaddish. But he's not up here, that's right. He's down there. So I'm going to give this a try. Do the best I can for you, Bobby. Page 144. Yikadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah B'yamad divrachirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechol yamechol Ufchayedecho Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uvizman kariv Vaimaro Amen Yehi Shmei Rabba Mivorach Li'alamo al mehol maya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yithada V'yithalev V'yithalal Shamei D'Kodesha V'richu Le'elamim Kol Birchata V'shir Ata Toshbechata V'nechemata Damiran Bi'alma v'imaro. Amen. Would you please turn to page 146 in the Mishkan Tefillah and rise for the call to worship, the Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. I'd ask you to turn to page 148. Jim, I wonder if you could lead the congregation, starting with Blessed Are You, near the middle of page 148.
Of course, I don't have 148.
You don't have that?
I do not.
My bad.
Oh, wait. I think I do. Blessed are you, Adonai.
It starts, Blessed Are You, Adonai our God.
Okay, I do have that. Right?
You got it.
I've got it. Okay. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Zivot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hamariv arivim.
Amen. Page 149. Jim, I'll ask you again, could you lead us starting with Praise to You? Please join him.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sails of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hamarivim aravim.
I'll ask you one more time, Jim, and would you please lead us on page 151 at the top, starting with As You Taught Torah.
As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mysteries beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
Amen. Would you please turn to page 152 and rise for the Shema? Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Please be seated. If you will turn to page 154, you are welcome to join me as I chant the V'ahavta. I am going to sing one sentence in Hebrew. Jim will then translate that into English, and we will go through it the whole way just like that. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol miyadecha.
You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might.
V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha.
Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children.
V'shinatam levanecha v'dibata bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'leftecha v'derech u'b'shovtecha u'v'kumecha.
Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up.
Ukshatam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot ben einecha.
Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead.
Uktavtam amzuzot betecha u'visharecha.
Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates.
Leman tiskaru ve'asitem et kel mitzvotai v'yatem kedoshim leloechem.
Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God.
Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeichem mieretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Amen. On page 155, I'm going to ask Jim to lead us with, and please join him, the paragraph starting, Love your God.
Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God.
Thank you. Please turn to page 158 and join us as we sing Mi Chamocha. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar kodesh, nora tehilot oseh feleh, nora tehilot oseh feleh. Malechutecha ra'u banecha, bokei ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'elianu v'yamru, ze'elianu v'yamru, Adonai imlocha.
Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha va'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef eleh, Nora tehilot osef eleh.
And if you would, please turn to page 160 and join us. Please join us as we sing Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Ve'amitenu malakenu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Such a beautiful lullaby. Would you please turn to page 164 and rise for the tefillah? Anananananana Adonai, Anananananana Savtai Tifta, Anananananana Ofi Agid, Ufi Agita Hilatecha, Anananananana Adonai, Anananananana Savtai Tifta, Ananananana Ufi Agita Hilatecha, Anananananana Adonai, Ananananana Savtai Tifta, Ananananana Ufi Agita Hilatecha. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Elohei Zilpa, Elohei Bilha, v'Elohei Tamar. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Megula Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer u'Mashiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Yetzrat Sarah, page 168. Atah Gipor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakal atarav le'oshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somev noflim berofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Kayem emunato, Lishenei afar, mi chamocha b'gevurot, umido melech, melech me'mid, umechayeh, umatzmiah mitshua, v'ne'eman ata lecha yod ha'akol, baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh ha'akol. Page 170. Ata kadosh, v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha, selah, baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. Please be seated. Our worlds are busy and noisy. Traffic jams, horns blaring, cell phones ringing, text messages buzzing. Too often we hear without listening. Let's take a moment to embrace the gift that only the quiet in this sanctuary and in our own minds can deliver. I invite you to join me in praying silently. Please turn to page 178 and join us as we sing Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam.
Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabbi Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabbi Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon luchol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon luchol hashalom. Shalom Rabbi Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabbi Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amecha Yisrael bechol et ubechol sha'a bishlomecha. Shalom Rabbi Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabbi Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Please turn to page 371 in the Mishkan Tefillah. If you have names to add to this week's Mishaberach list, those you would like to include in our prayers to restore mind and body, please start typing them into the chat box now. Page 371. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, Leah, Zilpah, Bilhah, and Tamar, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and for their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say, Amen. If you have names you would like to add to this week's Mishaberach list, Jeannie, has anyone typed anything yet into the chat? Okay, then Judy, you've got a microphone here, so I'll let you have it.
Susie Horowitz, Davina Horowitz, Keith Hood, Ken Burdett, Andrew Wheeler, and Edwin Speck.
Barbara Freed, Wendy Fine, Phyllis Falk, Susan Eilers, Ron Robinson, Ann Olin.
Linda Aaronsaff, Joe Wagner, Sherry Silver, Barbara Frank, Lois and Alan Sorkin, Uvana Thomas, Louise Lyon.
Okay, Peter Yarrow, Morris and Felice Friedman, Katie Adler, Stephen Linda Ely, Andrew Fine, Barbara Freed, Tamar Hanlon, Jessica Kirkpatrick, Margot and Jerry Hunt.
Judy, not only are you keeping the trains running on time, you play a great Merv Griffin.
No, I'm Phil Donahue.
Chaim Mendel, Harry Katz, Julie Saban, and Philly Bonehawk.
Thank you. Denise, do you have any names you'd like to add?
Robert Whitlock.
Thank you. Jeannie?
Linda and Stephen Ely, Allison Slaughter, Rebecca Goodman, Robert Whitlock, Tuli Vittner, Mila Binstock, Tony Jenkins, Judy Carmichael, Tammy Baker, Tanya Hurst, Jerry Wells, Phil Geyer, Bonnie Miller, Lisa Miller, Eddie Young, Amy Proctor, Sabra Johnson.
Okay. Frank?
Connie Spinelli, Bill and Jasmine Milligan, Nicole Bravante, Kinsey family, Catherine Seidel, Jim Wade, and Rabbi Fred Napkin.
Thank you.
Jonathan Paradis.
Thank you. Heather?
Jim and Robbie Hoosty.
Heather Murray.
Thank you. Jeannie, hi.
David Kobar, Janelle and Bill Moore, Elaine Sulcer.
Gina, I want you to know you have a lot of friends in this room. I had 3 people flagging me saying, she's got more names. I will add Kay Omer, Wendy Fine, Hannah Litzo, Linda Ely, Joanne Stein. I will add all those affected by COVID-19, which I think at this point is everyone on earth. And if it isn't, it will be soon, because apparently this new strain is even more virulent than the others, which we've heard many times before. I also want to keep in mind the citizens of Ukraine, whether they are in the diaspora or in Ukraine, and all their loved ones who are bravely fighting to keep themselves alive, independent, and democratic. With that, I would ask you please to turn to page 371. Sing with us, Misha Berach.
The source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So, this is the part where the Devar comes in. And it's always the part that I really enjoy and I fear simultaneously every week. I enjoy it because I get to spend a week thinking about this particular parsha and what it means today. And sometimes that message isn't real clear. It takes some real digging. This is sort of this again is a parsha which most of you know. It happens to be the conclusion of the book of Genesis, and it's the last time that Joseph is mentioned. And so Jacob, Joseph's father, is about to bless his 12 sons. But before he does, Joseph, with his 2 sons, has a private audience with his father. And he introduces Joseph to his grandsons. And Jacob says, "Your 2 sons born in the land of Egypt, they are mine. Ephraim and Manasseh will be to me like Reuben and Simeon." Wow. It gets better. Ephraim and Manasseh are reckoned among the tribes with Jacob's other sons. And yet, Joseph is not. I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute. That would make 13 tribes. It's never been 13 tribes. And how come, when we know that it's 12 tribes, Joseph is right there? How come? And that's a great question, which I hope I'll be able to answer in a couple of minutes. But I will leave you in suspense for the moment while I try to turn pages. Fumble fingers. Well, you know that this is not the first time. So Ephraim and Manasseh together are 2 of the tribes. And yet, that would make 13 without Joseph. The 13 tribes of Israel? Maybe. Similarly, when land was apportioned for each of the tribes, Ephraim and Manasseh were given territory, just like the rest of Jacob's sons. There are 3 tribes on each side surrounding the tabernacle, with the exclusion of Levi, who as priests are positioned differently. Joseph is not among those tribes. Ephraim and Manasseh are. Well, if they made it that far, how come they didn't continue? Well, near as I can figure, those who were writing all this down decided 12 tribes descended from 12 brothers made a lot more sense. There was no trying to explain. And so over time, Ephraim and Manasseh were relegated to the back of the line and ultimately forgotten, and Joseph was made the 12th tribe because it was neater that way. I find it a little odd. I like remembering those who have been forgotten. I would normally add these 2 men to that list. But they didn't really do anything. I mean, they were Jacob's grandsons. They got blessed. They led a tribe until apparently Joseph took it over. Why? Why were these two forgotten? The Torah describes Moses positioning the tribes for blessings and curses. And Manasseh and Ephraim never mentioned. Really? How about the breastplate? You know, we go through all this, what the priests will wear, from the kind of fabric used to the breastplate to, it's a big deal. There are 4 rows of stones, 3 each. They don't carry names, but they carry the insignias of those 12 tribes. And one of those insignias happens to be Joseph. Ain't that something? Our ancestors found a way to shape Manasseh and Ephraim to the narrative's needs instead of shaping the narrative to fit the reality. This is nothing new. We have seen this in the Old Testament before. We see it in the New Testament. Those who are writing have decided what's easier for people to really understand. He had 12 sons, but there are 13 tribes, or he had 12 sons and 12 tribes, and that's it. So much so that Ephraim and Manasseh basically are forgotten. They're just never mentioned again. But they played a vital role. They managed, they built, they organized and led tribes. How can we forget them? So here's the thing. When we ourselves view the past, do we always view it objectively? We know what happened, we know what we saw, we know what they said, and that's the story we tell. But is it really the story that happened? Or are we remembering it differently? If blind people surround an elephant, each one touches the elephant and describes what the elephant must look like, you get 12 different people with 12 entirely different stories touching the same animal. I'm afraid we do that ourselves. We selectively decide what we want to share. It's human nature. We mold the narrative to fit the framework rather than emphasize the truth. Most of the time because that's messy. I ask you to think about this, and I ask that we together try to find the courage to tell a fuller story, even if that makes us a bit more complicated. Shabbat Shalom. Frank, you have someone who you've asked me to chant El Malay for. Nick Spinelli, thank you. Well, We're going to see how good my memory really is, because my order of service got swooped up somewhere, and I'm not going to spend the time to bless you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's good having friends nearby. I would ask, please, that you turn to page 586 and rise for the Aleinu. Jim, Heather, would you do the honors? Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל העולם ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שאומנות השמיים ויוסף הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושינתו זו בגוהי מרובים ואלוהינו אנוש אמת מלכנו עבד זולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת יום והשיבות אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת עינו. Page 588. For you spread out the heavens and established the earth. Your majestic abode is in the heavens above, and your mighty presence is in the loftiest heights. You are our God, and there is none else. In truth, you are our sovereign without compare, as is written in your Torah. Know then this day, and take it to heart, that Adonai is surely God in the heavens above and on the earth below. There is none else. Page 591. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol ha'aretz bayom ha'hu yeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad. Please be seated. I did not know Nick Spinelli, but I heard his name mentioned every Friday night. He has been sick for some time. He finally lost that battle. But I know he was close to Frank. And so, if he was close to you, he was close to all of us. We are like one. El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim. Shochein Baromim. Hamse Menucha Nechona. Tacha Kanfei. HaShekhinah. Kohanim Kedoshim Hatihorim Kezohar Harakia Masirim Lanishmot Nick Spinelli Yakireino Shahalcho Leoleamam Bal Harachamim Harachamim Yasti Rembesefter Kinafav Liolamim Vitror Achayim et Nishmatam Adonai Hunachalatam Vianu B'Shalom Al Mishkavam V'nomar. Join me, please. Amen. I'm sorry for your loss. Page 599. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we've drawn into our hearts with our own. Zichronam livracha. May their memories always, always be a blessing. Are we in a period of Shiva, the first 7 days? No. Okay. Are we in a period of Shloshim? I know that we are. Just trying to see if there are other people out there. We're in Shloshim for Dave Bogart, Roland Jolin, Mark Kamarasara, and Nick Spinelli. Are there any others? We are also remembering those who have been with us in years past as part of this synagogue. Daniel Roach, Ed Gallup, Frank Perrone, Barbara Babbitt, Eugene Schmuckler, John McPeak, Dennis Clausen, Ellie Freed. Are there any others? I would ask you all to rise as a congregation of one
Barry.
to join those.
Judy.
There's another name? Please. I have some attributes. Organization is not one of them. Do you want to read their names? That's fine.
Yetta Rose, Jack Pesarillo, Jean Porpa, Ben Levitt, Richard Levitt, Daniel Jacob Horowitz, Gerald Simmons, Joel Kellner, Carol Nicholsberg, Jack Pesarillo.
Thank you. You would think I'd remember my own mother's name on there. Page 598, please rise physically and or spiritually. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Bi'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlilch malchuteh. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kariv imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'almei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithada v'yithalel v'yithalal shemed kudsha baruchu le'elam im kol brachata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'miran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimroma, uya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and all Israel. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Are there announcements tonight? Jeannie, got any announcements? Any juicy gossip, anything at all?
Sorry. In keeping with current CDC guidelines, TBD has gone mask optional for those who are fully vaccinated. Masks are still required for anyone not fully vaccinated. If you are at high risk of getting very sick, CDC recommends that you wear a high-quality mask when indoors in public. Please consider joining us in this sanctuary to worship as a community. Please continue to read your TBD emails for announcements and event details. We want to thank Sergeant Collins for keeping us safe tonight and every time he puts on his uniform.
Thanks, Jeannie.
And Barry, I'm going to assume that you lost the birthday list because it was with the yahrzeit list.
Yeah.
Celebrating birthdays this week, Maya Dickens, Marin Duff, David McElhenney, and Scott Whitlock. I also want to add one more announcement. There was an email this week. The Secure Community Network is putting on a webinar on how to survive a mass shooting or hostage situation. Yeah, I can't remember. There's so many of them. Anyway, the details for registering went out in an email this week. Please consider joining. They do a really good job, and it is kind of poignant that it is the first anniversary of the hostage situation in Colleyville.
Thank you. Now, I have witnesses, everyone here, everyone online. I have not moved from this spot since the service began, other than to just simply turn around. What happens to my paperwork is a complete mystery. This happens a lot. I'll be sitting at my desk at the office, and the same thing happens. So at least I'm consistent. And Heather, thank you for coming to my rescue for the order of service, far better than depending upon my memory as to what should come next. My apologies. I would ask you please to rise for the priestly blessing, Yivarechecha, which will conclude our service tonight. As you are rising, again, I want to thank Frank, Daniel, Heather, Jim. I'd like to thank Patrick, Jeannie, Denise, and Judy. Yivarechecha.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May the Lord bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai peno elecha v'hunecha.
May the Lord's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you.
Yisa Adonai peno elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May the Lord's face turn toward you and grant you peace.
V'yasem lecha shalom.
May you go from strength to strength. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.